Hey everyone, welcome back to the Risen Entrepreneur Podcast. I am once again your host, Danny Gopad, and I have a lovely guest today. We have Kelly Harris coming to you from Oklahoma, which I just learned is smack dab in the United States. All the Americans are always laughing at me because my geography apparently is not very good when it comes to states and stuff. Anyway, welcome here, Kelly. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're looking forward. Today we're going to be talking about confidence and taking messy action. But before we get into that, I'm going to let you all know a little bit more about Kelly. She's the founder of Harris Virtual Solutions, and she really loves helping entrepreneurs focus on their goals and their business. She became a freelance copywriter because she loves helping people, and she loves being at home with her kids and helping with the BSA. And she is passionate about helping you transform your business into your legacy. So, Kelsey, I would love to hear what has brought you up into this journey of entrepreneurship and into copywriting, into starting Harris Solutions.
So I always knew that I wanted to do more. I wanted to leave a legacy. And when I first, like about 10 years ago, when I was going to college and all of that stuff, I actually went to college to become a graphic designer and did that for a little bit, and then decided I wanted to go back to college and was told, you have all these art classes, why don't you go be a teacher? And so I was going to do that. Did some subbing in the middle of that and was like, oh, I don't like being an art teacher. Yuck. Ugh. At the same time, I subbed for a first grade classroom, and I was pregnant with my oldest son, and a little girl said, are you pregnant or just fat? And I was like, honey, I'm pregnant. It's not too many cookies. And so I went back to school for education and became a kindergarten teacher for almost a decade. But I always knew that I didn't want to be the old teacher. So that was kind of just, it's a chapter and it's just a part of my story. And I really learned how to kind of like problem solve and to teach and do a bunch of things at the exact same time, which I think was super helpful when I decided, okay, I'm going to do this entrepreneurship thing. I actually had always said 10 years was max. I was at year 8 officially teaching. And my husband, when the pandemic hit, I went from working about 60 hours a week to about 80 because I was working all the time because we were teaching 5-year-olds virtually. So I was putting out all this content and then going to the building and working in the building and filming all of my lessons and then editing all the lessons and then having to go back and put them all together in iMovie and then turn around and push it all out. And he said, we said 10 years, but I think this year counts for 3. I think it's time to figure out what the next step is. And I was like, okay, well, let's figure out what the next step is. And I did some research online and I started out as a virtual assistant, and that has kind of morphed into me being a copywriter and content strategist. I love words and I love to find the right words to help people get their message to the world. So that's kind of how that all happened.
I love that because most journeys that we hear about, it's never really a straight shot, right? It's always kind of like, well, there's like this, and then I learned that I really like this, and I learned I really didn't like this, and then it kind of led me this way. And I'm sure your journey hasn't ended. Like all of our business journeys have not ended to right now. It always
right. It's always a journey. There's never a destination. You never get to until you're completely done with that. You never get to a point where you're like, okay, I have arrived. You're like, oh, this is a new level. Awesome. Like this level is going to bring new challenges. What's that look like?
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about like getting messy here. And now you just talked about working with kids and kindergarten. And I'm wondering if that has really helped influence you in this perspective, this thinking of like, just going forward and being messy, helping in your confidence.
I think it really has. Early on when I was teaching, I had a dear friend tell me, if things are never going to go the way you plan. So you're going to have your lesson plan and you're going to be going down it. And then something's going to happen, whether it's, a kid gets sick or you get a call from the office or something happens. And he said, when chaos hits, the best thing for you to do is just pick up a children's book, sit in the middle of the kids and read it to them, because that's the best way to just say, like, I'm here with you. I'm on your level. Let's just go here. And we are all in this together. And I think teaching taught me that it was okay for things not to be perfect, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. I mean, there's so many of us in the world that want anything that we put out into the world to be perfect, and perfect is not a real thing. Like perfect is an ideal. And other people may look at you and say like, oh my gosh, you got it all together. You're perfect. And you know, you do not have it all together. Like there are other things that people don't see. I think social media has really exacerbated that situation because they see the highlight reel of your life, but they don't actually see a lot of the struggles because people don't share that via social media.
Yeah, because you are only taking like snippets of, okay, it worked, it was good, not the like, oh my goodness, this is like messy and don't look in my closet.
Yeah,
Don't look under my bed.
Closet. Don't look at the dishes in the sink. Don't look at, the laundry that's piled up everywhere. Yeah. I mean, because we all have it, but it's the stuff that nobody talks about.
So how do you think perfection actually harms our confidence?
First of all, I feel like perfection, there's two things that perfection really causes major issues with confidence. The first is perfection doesn't allow you to move forward. When you're in your comfort zone, you're in your comfort zone because you have already done the thing. You've done the thing, you've mastered the thing, you know how the thing works, and you know what the outcome is going to look like. And so then you can say, well, I have this perfect, so why should I move forward? Well, then you're stuck in this comfort zone, and it's almost like a circle around you that you're not willing to step out of. And that's a huge problem with perfectionism. The other issue with your confidence is if you're not willing to, like, if you're trying to be perfect, you're not willing to say, hey, I'm going to put this thing out there because it's not perfect yet. So I'm going to wait and I'm going to get every little thing perfect. And then I'm going to probably not put it out there because it's not perfect yet. Or I think it's perfect, but if I put it out there, somebody's going to criticize it and tell me that it's not perfect. And then, so why even bother doing the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of makes us not even try anymore.
Right.
We can't even go forward.
Right. We stay stuck. And so like for me, because as I said, I was a perfectionist for a very long time. And for me, messy action it's like I tell people, it's kind of become my mantra in a way, because I have to put myself out there. Now that I'm a business owner, like I'm all the things. I'm the owner, I'm the marketer, I'm the salesperson, all these things. And so I have to be willing to go out there and say like, hey, I'm a copywriter. Do you need writing? Hey, I see this, that you're going to do a launch. Do you need an email sequence? Like talk to me, tell me what's going on. I do that for two reasons. One, because I'm learning what they're going to tell me their needs are, which is great, because then I can turn around and say, oh, if you just told me that you need visibility, then I can go to the next person and say, hey, do you need emails for visibility? Yeah. And they're like, how do you know? Like, so hearing it from your perfect ideal client is, helpful, because then you can use their words and really connect with them.
Yeah, that's a really great marketing tactic, but it's really just getting to know people, right? It's really just listening.
Right. And the thing is too, like for me, and this has become a huge pillar there's two huge pillars in my business. One is servant leadership. I've always believed that if I'm going to be leading others, I need to be in there with them. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm the boss, go do the thing. So be like, okay, well, what do you need? Like, how can we make this better? What needs to happen here? And you had said in my bio, the BSA, it's the Boy Scouts of America, and they very much lead on BSA, but it was actually founded in England. And so they are all over all over the world. But that is their big thing, is they teach servant leadership, because they teach that we're all in this together. And I feel like, even as an entrepreneur, we're all in this together. I have other friends that are copywriters, but our ideal client isn't the same person. And so we need to support each other. With this pandemic, we became very almost two-dimensional in a way, because we ended up behind our screens and in our Zoom calls and things. But we've lost being able to talk to people, because our world is so much screen-based with cell phones and computers. It's hard to build relationships with people. And that's the other pillar of my business, is I'm about building relationships. I don't just want to have a relationship with my client. I want to have a relationship with my clients, because ultimately those are the people that I'm talking to if I'm writing for my client, because I'm borrowing their voice to talk to their people.
That's right. Okay. So let's go a little bit back into this messy action. You touched on it when we talked about perfection and how that harms our confidence. Now I want to look at it like, okay, how can being messy, because I know this is probably a little bit shocking for some people, maybe like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Right.
Being messy, how can this really help our businesses and help us in momentum?
So when I started and someone said, take messy action, I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, just go do the thing. And then once it's out in the world on the internet land, then you can fix it, because you're going to get feedback on what works and what doesn't work. And so from taking messy action really just means, if you're going to put something out, like a lead magnet or a social media post, or you're going to do a live on Facebook or Instagram, like, make yourself a list. Give yourself like 3 bullet points of things that you want to talk about, put it on a Post-it note on your computer, and then go. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. I did one yesterday or the day before where I was trying to be awesome and do Instagram and Facebook at the same time. And I thought I did amazing until I realized I didn't turn on Facebook.
Oh,
I was like, and I thought, I mean, there was a time where I probably would have cried, where I'm like, oh, I failed, like, and that's the other thing. You got to kind of, failure's a verb. It's not a label. It just means, oh man, I messed this one up. Is there a lesson I can learn here? You know, someone once told me fail, F-A-I-L, just means first attempt in learning. And it's a great place to like, okay, let's see where the lesson is, or if there's feedback here. And so taking messy action honestly just means go do the thing and then be open to feedback. Will you get criticism? Probably at some point. The higher you level, the more the internet trolls like to come out. But, you know, even with them, you have to kind of say like, is there feedback here that I could actually take? Yeah, maybe they were not super kind in what they said to me, but is there something I could actually take to push my business further along?
And I think the more action you do, the more you start feeling confident about it, right? You start, oh, I've done this before.
It's easier too, because, you know, you say like, oh, I've done a Facebook Live. Oh, I've done an Instagram. And you don't just stop there, because then that becomes the new comfort zone and you're still kind of stuck. You just keep doing it. You do it every day. Like, today I'm going to go out and I'm going to take messy action on something in my business, or today I'm going to go out and I'm going to take messy action, something in my family, whether that's, you know, we're going to go face painting, or we're going to go, you know, whatever, and sometimes it's really truly messy, like when there's a big mess, but the biggest messes make the best memories. And sometimes it's just the messy action is going and doing the thing that makes you uncomfortable, because that's what I've learned is the messy action is saying, okay, I need to go do this. And your brain immediately going, I'm going to barf. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's just axe that one off the list. It's not happening. That's always an immediate, like when I get that pushback from inside, it's always an immediate like, oh, crap, now it's on the list and I have to do it. Because you go and you do the thing, and even when you turn off the Instagram live, or you're done with the thing and you're shaking and you really truly feel like you're going to throw up, you did the thing. And that's where the confidence is built. It's built in saying, you know what? I look back and I did that. Did I want to do that? No, I did not want to do that, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about that quite a bit, because every time I think, or I try something new, and it especially comes up, you know, when I'm starting this podcast, or when I did my first virtual event and, you know, invited people, you know, a week before, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I always do these things?
Terrible idea.
Why? This was like, maybe it was a cool idea when it was like further away. And I was like, I could do that. You know, when you're still stuck in that dreaming phase, it feels okay. But when you make a date and you start
it
like,
feels super real, and you're like,
then it gets real. And then you're like, no, either I chicken out and tell everyone, oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Canceled. I'm sick.
Yeah, I'm sick. I'm sorry. And that's exactly like that feeling. And I've had it so often where I'm like, I want to cancel. And that's exactly what you said. That's when I know I need to do it. I know I need to push through that, because that feeling that wants to just keep me like safe and not growing.
And the other thing with confidence too is make a list of where you started. And when you have these small wins, it doesn't matter the size of the win. add that to your list, because on days when it gets really hard and your confidence is shot because you had a nasty comment online, or, the house is burning down around you and you're just trying to get to work and do your Zoom call or whatever it is. That's when you can go back and you can actually look at that list and say, like, look how far I've come. I don't feel like I've done anything today. Like, I feel like, my business will be a year old in December, and I'm like, it's been a year. And then I look back at the list and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've done this and I've done that. And I've created these things and I've talked to all of these people and I've built these relationships. And even though they're drops in the bucket's starting to get full, and that's good. I mean, and I think that's where the confidence is built in saying, like, I don't want to go do this thing because I think it's going to be so, like there's a date and I'm committed. And I have to have the discipline as an entrepreneur to follow through. But look how far I've come, and look all the things I did. And you don't know, like, even for the podcast, you don't know who's listening. You don't know who needs to hear it. And I think you touch lives without even realizing it. And that's, you have your list and you can see just a very small piece of the picture.
Yeah. And if you were to have said no, for instance, in my case, saying no to things is like almost robbing people of that chance to hear that message. And you don't think about that. You don't think about it when you're feeling like horrified or scared or like, oh my goodness, you don't think about the potential of your action.
And that's the other thing too, is you think, oh God, what if this blows up in my face?
Yeah.
But it's somewhere along the way, we decided what if was a bad thing. And it's not. Like, you could turn that around and say, like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. What if it's amazing? What if 100,000 people attend my summit? Like, what then? Like, what does that next step look? And I mean, that can be just as terrifying in some ways for the perfectionist, as it can be for the person that's stuck.
Because what would you do with 100,000 people? And if there are a bunch of problems?
And then you begin to think, like, why are you listening to me? Like, when did I become the expert here?
Yeah, absolutely. We are coming to the end of this interview, unfortunately, Kelly, and I think it's really great. I love talking about confidence. It's one of my favorite subjects, and I think you brought a lot of great points up. One of my favorites is your quote, "First attempt of learning for fail." I like that one. Remembering that failure is a verb. It's not a pronoun. It's not like describing.
You're not a failure. Yeah.
And I think that's really important if we want to move forward, and if we want to show up, especially as leader. And that's one of my points is, like, if you are in business, if you're growing your business, you're a leader.
You're in charge of this. Like, make it or break it. You're the boss.
So how does the boss show up? How does the boss gain confidence?
Right.
And I think it's really important to remember, like, that, walking forward in that messiness is not bad. Like, mess is not bad. It can be ordered. It can be cleared. It can be, okay, I'll put it out there like a paint. We were talking about your kids painting or my kids painting. It's a mess. But what comes out of it is like, okay, well, next time we're not going to use that paint.
Right.
That was really good.
That paint doesn't come out of clothing. So now we move on. But I love what you made. And the thing is too, you made a memory. So, like, taking that action, and the thing is, putting out that action, whatever it looks like, doesn't mean you put it out and you leave it alone. You don't just, like, put it out there, go fly, be free. You can take the criticism and say, or the feedback from people and say, okay, I am going to tweak this. Now I'm putting out version 2.0. I'm going to take this. I'm putting out version 5.0. Like, because the ultimate goal is to reach the people and to build your business. You have to build the relationships. That's the biggest thing. And you can only build the relationships if you're willing to put yourself out there and take the messy action.
And relationships are messy.
They are. I mean, they're never,
not simple.
It's never, we're not climbing a mountain. It's up and down, more like a lifeline of, a heartbeat. So.
All right. Well, where can we find you, Kelly? Where Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram at kmharris004. Also, you can check out my website, www.harrisvirtualsolutions.com. And I am running a couple of specials till the end of the year. And then I just introduced it, but it's going to be even more awesome in 2022. But I'm going to have an entire VIP day that's going to be an entire experience where you can hire me for a whole day of 8 hours of uninterrupted writing if you need like an email sequence or a landing page or something like that. So it'll be awesome.
That's exciting. Cool, Kelly. Is there one more thing that you'd like to just encourage our audience with before we say goodbye?
I think the last thing I would like to really the last little bit of encouragement would be to just say, guys, it's okay. You are enough. You are smart enough to do this. You are wise enough. You have all the resources that you need. I mean, you in your business, you are the secret sauce that everybody talks about. It's your uniqueness that makes your business and the most special. So
yeah, that's right. All right, guys, you are enough. Thank you so much, Kelly, for your time and your wisdom and your encouragement today. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
thank you.
And I want to thank everyone watching or listening, wherever you are. Thank you for hanging out with us, spending time with us. And we look forward to hearing from you. Make sure you tag us in Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're hearing this, and let us know your greatest takeaways from this. Where are you struggling in confidence? Where have you seen breakthroughs? We'd love to hear about it. So we will